first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to come over here to add loop, and this is where you're going to have to know the property address or the MLS number. So you can easily get that from matrix, from FMLS number. We could either do that or we could do the address. We're going to come back here and we're going to paste it into there, and boom. So you can see that it pulls up the property address. It's listed by Kathleen, 189.9, and then at this point we're going to import data. We're going to hit continue, and we're going to select buying because we are representing the buyer. And this is a cool new feature with DotLoop. They're actually putting a picture, so yes, that is the house that we want to submit an offer on. And then from there, you are going to, this loop is already created. Notice it's already set to purchase. For status, go ahead and always do this up front. It just saves you a lot of time and a headache, and especially for our admin staff. So change the status from we're going to pre-offer, and we can do the sales price here, or we could do it later, but we're going to do it later, and we're going to hit view loop. One of the first things that I do is I get rid of this others document. I like to have my stuff nice and tidy and neat, so I'm going to archive that. And remember, with DotLoop, you can never delete anything. You can only archive it. So first thing we need to do is we need to come down here, make sure that you're listed as the agent. You are, and we need to change that to buying agent. And then now we need to add our clients. So I've already had an offer written up with these clients before, but you can just go through and put their full name and their email and then just change them to buyer. You don't need any of this extra stuff unless you want to add it. And you're just going to add person, and we're going to add his wife. And you can see here that it just auto-populates, which is really nice, and they are the buyer, so we're going to add person. And then from this point, we're ready to add our documents. So we can add our documents. The easiest and simplest way to add a document is you're going to go to your templates. Now, if you've watched the advanced tutorial on this, I actually show you how to set up which documents you need and put them in a folder so they're all right there nice and easy, rather than have to go search through them in the GAR interactive documents. Now, if you're within the first 30 days of joining the brokerage and you don't have, or you're not a part of a realtor board, then we do have files in here that you can access the documents to be able to write up an offer. It's just scroll down to buying documents. So all of these are already right here for you for your first, if you're within the first 30 days of joining the brokerage. So I'm going to go back up here. I already have my folder, so I know I need a purchase and sale. We do require an exclusive buyer brokerage at Georgia's Finest, so that's going to be in my folder. We do not hold earnest money, so F84A is going to be in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and add F84B because I know that's coming, because the attorney actually has to sign off on it. And then we need to add the type of loan program that they're doing, which this particular client is using a VA loan. But you can see I have all of my different financing exhibits already in this folder, so it makes writing up an offer super quick, and especially if you autofill your documents. And we need to send them Protect Yourself When Buying a Home as part of the buyer brokerage. So we're going to copy that, and they're all in there. And from here, what we'll do, I like to arrange them so that they're in order. So the purchase and sale is going to be first. The exclusive buyer brokerage is only for the brokerage, so you really don't need to send that document to the listing agent. And we don't have a seller's property disclosure on this to upload, but we do have a pre-approval letter, so we're going to attach that. So we add the document, and then we're going to go to Browse. And then from Browse, I'm going to find the document on my desktop, and I'm going to open. And this is how you add any documents, by the way. So if you say for example, we get past this and we're doing an amendment, or they're sending an amendment to us, and they send it in a PDF version because they don't use DotLoop, then you can download that attachment from your email and then upload it the same way that I did. Add document and then browse. So we can just check here. We're making sure that our offer looks good. So Cody Chembars, here's your pre-approval, and it's a signature, and it matches the purchase price. So we want to include that. That's going to be the very first thing that we want the listing agent to see, that, hey, we have a pre-approved buyer. We are ready. We're a slam dunk. Let's do this. So that's the first thing that you want them to see, because you're building up their confidence in your offer. No matter if it's lower or it's not a really strong offer, it doesn't matter if they have that pre-approval. It helps. It does help. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on our purchase and sale. And you see it's auto fills for this. Now at this point, I do go ahead and I come over here, parcel tax ID. You come back over here to matrix, and parcel tax ID is right here. So you're going to highlight that, copy it, come back, parcel, and then facts. This is the stuff that I was telling you that you can autofill. So I already have this autofilled, so I don't have to do this again. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill in here. So I know the purchase price we want to do is $176. Earnest money held, and we're going to use, this is, remember, Georgia's Finest does not hold earnest money, so the attorney has to hold it. So we're going to use Hoyle Law Firm. Closing date. So we're doing a VA loan. They are fully approved. However, they, with their circumstance, they want to close in February, so they're not overpaying on their lease and their mortgage. So we're just gonna do 30 days from the next business day. So 7/14, 21, 28. So somewhere around here. So we're just gonna go February 8th. That gives them plenty of time. We are going to have a holiday. That's one thing I can't stress enough, that when you're writing up an offer, especially around Christmas and Thanksgiving, end of the year, be mindful of those holidays. I can't tell you how many times I've had to extend closing because I scheduled a closing on a holiday. So offer date, we're going to go ahead and do that. Offer expiration, it is a Saturday, so I'm going to go ahead and be nice to the listing agent and give him till Monday to respond. It depends on how bad your client wants the property. And then you don't have to do the geographic location. So again, we're looking through here. That's the correct address. That's the correct city. Everything looks good. We filled that in. Now we need to do legal description, and we've talked about this in other videos, but legal description, this is the best. You have to have a paid subscription to print this off. This most of the time doesn't matter for the agents that aren't working in Atlanta. And then so this is the next best way for you to provide legal description of the property. So deed, book, and page. So we're going to come back here to matrix, and we're going to come and it's right here. It's not difficult, and you protect your clients to make sure that they're purchasing the correct property. So deed, book, and page. So we're going to do this. We're going to highlight, copy, and we're going to bring this here. We're going to bring this, we're going to do that. And then boom, so deed, book, and page is done. Purchase price is already filled out. Now, this is where this is what the seller is willing to concede to the buyer towards closing costs. So we are doing a VA loan, and if you didn't know that, a VA loan can actually accept 4% from the seller to pay towards closing costs. So a conventional loan is only 3%, an FHA loan is 6%, up to 6%, and a VA loan is 4%. So we're going to take 176, and I'm not going to do a full 4. I'm going to do a 3.5 because we are coming in. This property is listed, by the way, at 189.9. It was an investment property, and it's been sitting on the market. So we're anticipating a price drop, so we were coming in below a lot below the asking price. So times 0.035. So we're going to ask for $6,000 towards closing costs, and it's 6160, but that's, just round off to the nearest thousand is typically the rule. If you want to do 100, you could do that as well. Closing date is 2/8/2019. Don't forget, you need to check this box right here. This is one of those marks that you could do for autofill and make sure that you're not missing something, because you've got to make sure every box on this contract has something in it. whether it's an NA not applicable or there's pertinent information. So we're just going to, 5 and 6 are the same. So it's Hoyle Law Firm. This is another one that you would autofill. We can never accept cash as earnest money. So one, it poses a problem with your lender because the lender needs to verify where the money came from. So just tell your clients check or money order, and most of the time your clients are dropping the earnest money off at the closing attorney for themselves, so you really don't have to worry about it. But I always click check, and we do B because we're doing $1,000, and the brokerage requires 3 days from binding agreement date for earnest money to be deposited. So this is, again, I have all this auto-filled on my contract. But this is our 2019 version, so I have not auto-filled my stuff yet. And then due diligence. So we're going to come in here. We're going to put 14. We may not need it, and they may counter it, but we're going to ask for 14. That's on the high side. 7 is aggressive, and 10 is middle of the road. Definitely don't want to put anything over 10 if you're competing in a multiple offer situation. Now, we're not doing any additional, so we're just going to put NA. Remember, we don't want to leave anything open for someone to modify the contract. Even though we would be protected, we just don't want to leave any blanks. So lead-based paint, it was not built prior to 78, but we could quickly verify that by going back to FMLS and seeing it was built in 82. So we don't have to include that. We are representing the buyer as a client because they are signing a buyer brokerage, and they are representing them as a client. A material relationship is going to be NA, unless you are helping a family member. Now, if you're helping a family member, maybe you're selling your grandma's house, you need to put seller is related to listing agent in there. It has to be disclosed as per Georgia law. So just make sure that if you're representing family, immediate family, even going up to grandparents, then it needs to be disclosed. And the time limit of offer, remember we already filled that in, so we're just going to give them till 12 p.m. We'll give them to noon on Monday. And then, as you know, you do need to read this, by the way. At some point, you need to go through and know what this contract says, especially at the beginning of each year, because you could see that it was just updated 1/1/2019. So they added a few small changes. I've already reviewed it, but nothing too big. So first thing we need to do is we need to put closing attorney acting as holder of earnest money, because Georgia's Finest does not hold earnest money. We are working towards that, but we don't hold it currently. So I do A because that's the first one. I know I loaded it into my document as A. It does not have a community association, doesn't have an HOA. We're not using a conventional. So the next thing I'm going to do is come down here to VA, and that is going to be Exhibit B. Remember, exhibits go in letters, amendments go in numbers. And then from here, this is where you're going to put your special stipulations in regards to what you're asking the seller to concede to. So this one does have a septic tank, I believe. So this is the part where we would write in here, seller agrees to, and I'm going to have all of these. I actually have a list of special stipulations already printed out, and this is, again, you can have this auto-filled, so all of your special stipulations are automatically already in the contract, and then all you do is you delete the ones that you don't need or that don't pertain to the contract. It's super easy. I'll show that to you in another video, but I'm not going to take the time to do that. So you'd finish the special stipulations there. You come down here. You do not need the email address on this contract. Now, some brokerages out there and brokers will teach you, don't give the other agent any contact information of your client, blah, blah, blah. I don't ever worry about that, so don't let that be a concern. But again, it doesn't have to be on the contract. You don't have to fill out this personal information here. And this used to say are not attached, so we don't have to do anything here. And then from here, at this point, we could go ahead and, again, this is typically auto-filled, but we would complete that and then we'd sign that. We're not signing it right now because we still have to come back and modify it. Next exhibit, remember, is F84A. So we're going to click in here. We're going to work on this. And it auto-fills. We just want to make sure that the information is correct. Don't miss this box up here. And remember your exhibit. So that is exhibit. And the alternate holder, again, no blank. So we're going to put NA because we close with Hoyle Law Firm a lot while we're in Dahlonega and Dawsonville. So they will always hold our earnest money. So this is going to be Hoyle Law Firm. And typically I have to Google all my attorneys because I don't just use one. So we're going to come over here, just Google Hoyle Law Firm, come back, put it in here, and then we're going to separate this, and we're going to do this. I've got to get a phone number. We don't have to worry about fax or email. I do have their email, but you don't have to put that on there. Again, we want to make our lives simple. So we work smarter, not harder. So we're going to save. Another thing I forgot to mention, we don't ever share a document solely. What do I mean by that? I don't mean, hey, share purchase and sale to sign. Share this one to sign. Share this one to sign. What you're going to do, and I'll show you at the end of it, but you're going to select all of these. You're going to select all of these and then share them so that the way they get them in one document and one email, and they're not confused as to which ones they've signed and which ones you haven't signed. Again, work smarter, not harder. So we're going to come back. That's finished. We're going to come to VA loan because we know that's next. That's all that is auto-filled. So we're going to auto-fill. And what exhibit is this? If you said B, that is correct. And we're going to do letter A, and a VA loan is 100% financing, and it's a 30-year term. And typically, what I have in here is 5.5 auto-filled. You just want to put it not too low of a number where if they can't qualify for that rate, that they could get out of the contract for that. And we can talk about that in another video. So we know we're going to use Homestar Financial, and that is Lacey King, and that is 770. And she is also one of our preferred lenders and does a phenomenal job. So I'm just looking up her cell phone number, 9326. She does a phenomenal job. She works the same hours that we work. So if you ever need a good lender, give Lacey King a call. So financing contingency, remember we're doing a 30-day close. So typically we'll do, I'm sorry, not 35, 25. So financing contingency is 25 days. And we're just going to scroll here and make sure we didn't find anything. In full at closing, this is going to be 1.75%. I'm sorry, we're doing B here. Added to loan and finance. I was thinking of the FHA. So certain repairs, so we're just going to put 500 here. So this means if the VA appraiser comes out and sees any repairs needed, that the seller can pay up to 500, and if it's over 500, then the seller could terminate the contract. And then public water, it is connected to public water but not public sewer, so we're just going to put 250 here. But because it's on a septic, it's as long as there's not city water around the area, you'll be fine there. And then we're going to put 400 north, and I'm going to go ahead and sign this because this one is finished. So we're going to adopt and sign, save. We're going to go back. The last one that we need to work on is the exclusive buyer brokerage. So you're going to come down here, it's auto-filled. Okay, and then we're going to put today's date. This term shall begin today, and typically it depends on the stage of the process you're at with the buyer. If you're writing up the first contract, you might want to do a 90-day, or most people do 180, a 6-month agreement, but it just depends on the client. So you don't want to scare someone by trying to force them into a contract, but you're just explaining to them that we're just now starting your search, so let's do a 90-day buyer brokerage, and you're just committing to buy a home with me. So we'll do March, end of March, because I know this is, they really like this house. Independent contractor. We do not allow dual agency or sub-agency at Georgia's Finest. And this is 3%. And now you got to be careful when you autofill your contracts here. It says in the event seller does not pay the broker the full amount, which is 3, the buyer shall or shall not pay the difference. Now, you better not put buyer shall pay the difference if you have not had the conversation with your buyer. Because if they come back and say, you never told me that I had to pay an extra 0.5%, you've got to be very careful with that. So I personally do shall not, but I have that conversation up front with my buyers and tell them, listen, 3% is standard. Are you willing to pay my commission, the difference in my commission, or do you only want me to show you homes that are listed at 3%? And they pick the 3% homes. And we're going to put NA here because we're not, unless you're worried that the buyer is going to sign a lease with you, you're just going to put NA there. And then protection period is 60 days. So after 60 days after 3/31, if they go and buy a house with another agent, you would be that you showed, you would be protected that commission. But it'd have to be one that you showed. And we're going to scroll down. The only other thing we need to do here is to include protect yourself when buying a home. And we've already added that to there. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and I'm not going to sign this because I do have to put this information in there. One thing I do want to make sure that you are aware of, receipt of the copy of this agreement is hereby acknowledged by buyer. When these buyers sign this needs to be completed at the bottom. They need to. This is a very big deal with the Georgia Real Estate Commission, so make sure that this is filled out at the bottom. And then from there, you're going to save, and we're going to share this with them. So we're going to do this one. Remember that we don't have to do this one right now. It's once we go under contract. This is within 3 days of going under contract. You have to get this closing attorney to sign and agree that they're holding the earnest money. We're going to need to send the VA loan. We need to send this one. We need to send this one. From this point, what you're going to do is you're going to hit share. And notice it's clicked on your clients, which is excellent. And the first thing it's clicked on is can sign. Now, if you are representing a listing or a seller in this case, and you needed to get them to fill out a seller's property disclosure, fill and sign where they can actually fill out documents. But most of the time, can sign is what you want to do with your buyers. And then you're going to type in your whatever message. Hi, Jessica and Cody. Please review and sign the contract. Let me know if you have any questions. Regards, Cody. And then I always do attach PDF to email because this is going to give them a PDF copy so they can review it as a PDF before they sign it. And from there, you're going to hit share and you're good. It's going to say at top that documents have been successfully shared. And at that point, you're going to text your client and say, hey, check your email. The offer docs are there. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions that are not covered in this video. I'll be glad to help. Have a great day. Thanks.